I love printing. I love printing. I love it. I love printing. Hey everybody, I want to welcome you back to another episode of Printer to Printer with me, Warren Werbitt, also known as the Print Whisperer. Hope you see it. Today we have another guest. We always have a guest, distinguished guest, but then again, everyone in the world of print is distinguished. And we have Chris Carpenter from Royle Printing in Wisconsin. How are you, Chris?
Good. How are you? Thanks for having me.
I am great, thanks. And thanks for coming. It's always nice when people actually show up.
My pleasure.
Before we go on, why don't you tell us a little bit about Royle Printing, what you do and how you do it and all the fun stuff.
So Royle Printing, we are a catalog and magazine printer based in Wisconsin. We've got two facilities here, roughly 400,000 square feet. We're most primarily web offset with a little sheet fed. But again, we focus on the short to medium run catalog and magazine markets. Roughly 300 plus employees. We're a 24/7 organization. And I'm proud to say that we're growing. We see a lot of legs in print. As an owner, I guess I need to say that. But we think the relevance of print as we've gone through these strange 2-3 years with COVID, if anything, it's become more relevant. So we're bullish on print and glad to be a part of our industry.
Oh, man.
Mm-hmm.
Love to hear it. I've always been a believer of print is by far the best industry in the world because everybody needs it.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Just quickly, I was telling you the other day, I was at the gym in the sauna and once somebody asked me what I do and I said print. And they said, print, isn't that dead? And I felt bad for the other 3 people in the sauna because I kind of jumped up and screamed at the poor guy.
Right.
I don't think he'll ever say that again. But that's good. So you mentioned that business is good. Love to hear that. What makes it so good for you?
Well, last year was an interesting year, primarily because of the paper market. We were all dealing with supply chain issues that affected every manufacturer or even consumers in this country, but paper in particular was affected. So there was a shortage of paper, A, and B, massive price escalations through the year. So that was an interesting period to get through. I'd like to say and think that we have very good relationships with our paper suppliers. So I think in some ways we weathered that storm a little better than most, which helped us in terms of growing our business. One of the other challenges that we have been dealing with, as most manufacturers have in this country, is the labor shortage.
I was going to ask about that.
That's a very real issue. And we recently rolled out an initiative that talks about advanced careers in printing. If you look at government-sponsored or even higher education-sponsored programs that teach the trades, not just print, but broader trades, there are fewer and fewer of them in this country. So our only way of controlling the ability to attract people and bring them into this industry and train them is to kind of create our own educational program. And we call it Educations in Print. So it serves not only new people coming to Royle, but it also serves people within our organization who want to continue to evolve their careers in printing.
Wow, that's pretty solid. And
yeah,
how have people embraced that?
It's been great. I mean, it's relatively new. It's something we've always done, but we've really added some formal organization to it and created, it's about content. And then how do we take them from a classroom setting to an on-the-job training with their mentors and coaches. And one of the other benefits we've seen is the veterans who work here. It gives them an opportunity to really demonstrate their knowledge and their skills.
Sense of pride.
It very much so, Warren. I'm glad you said that because they take a great deal of pride in what they do, and now we're kind of connecting those dots with people who want to learn from them, and then bringing in new people to the industry.
Yeah, wow, I think that's great. I used to a couple of things. I used to go to a vocational school that taught print every year, and I would speak with the class, and then I would also invite them to come to the print shop. Mm-hmm. And they would come with the class and I would break it down into 3 or 4 different groups and grab a couple people and walk them around. And you know what? It was they always appreciated because no one, even everyone, our friends don't even know how things are printed and made.
Right.
If they knew, they'd be a little bit more excited about the world of print, I think. But all these people were just so appreciative and some stayed to go into it. And we always, it was also my way of saying, hey, here's my number when you guys graduate. If you like our place, give us a call. But I would also give them a portfolio with all the company information. And I remember even having one person say, hey, I think my parents deal with you. And then I said to everybody else, take these portfolios home and give them to your parents.
Right. Spread the word.
Well, any way that you can spread the word, you have to keep spreading the word.
Well, it's through referrals, and it also is incumbent on us then to create a culture that people want to be a part of. Someone asked me as I was explaining this program to them about my concern for investing all this time and monetary resources in training people. Is there a risk of losing them? And I think that's true in any situation, but it makes it incumbent on us then to create a culture that people want to be a part of. Giving them an opportunity to advance their careers, certainly financially, but also in terms of pride and continued growth and development in what they learn and know in printing. So, we're proud to be printers. It's not a dying industry. It's certainly a changing industry, but if we learn and adapt to those changes, it's still a great place to be.
So two things. Number one, every industry has its own issues.
Mm-hmm.
We talk sometimes like we're at the bottom of the barrel, but there's plenty of other industry out there that's bottom of the barrel. And I like what you just said about, someone asking you about if you train someone, can you lose them? I think it's so important that we don't take the negative approach of don't train because you might lose them, right? It's really, really bad because it hurts us. And if you train someone and they leave because they were given another opportunity somewhere, I would always say to the people who would come to me and say, I'm leaving because I have an opportunity. And I'd say to them, good for you. I'm stuck here. But as an owner, I'm an owner. As an employee, if you could put 5 or 10 grand more on the table at home, it's not my place to argue with them. But if you do the training, if you make the place culturally sound, they're not going to want to leave for a couple dollars.
Yeah, and heaven forbid we stand in the way of progress for an individual. But
God forbid is right.
You have to kind of look at our lives and the role we play as employers more holistically than that, and continue to invest in the people. And I think doing that the right way and being consistent with it, and it's not always easy. It bears out to the positive in the long run.
So I think of I'll be quick with the story. So I had a pressman who started with me when he was young on sweeping the floors, 2-color, feeding a 5, then running a 6, became the first pressman. He was in his early 30s and he was good. And at one point I remember him coming to me and saying, I got a call from another printer and he was earning $24 an hour at the time. And he said, well, they offered me $30 an hour and 4 weeks vacation. And we were of the same age. And I got up from the desk and I went up and I was talking with him. And I put my arm on his shoulder and I just said, Dave, I think it's time to move out. I said, I'm going to keep your room. I'm not turning it into a den so fast. I said, but I think you need to see what it's like on the outside. I know what I've done for you and I can't bump it up. And he was like, well, could we meet somewhere? And I said, I'd like to, but I can't because you're going to be back here in a year for the other something.
Right.
And my plan with you is, as I've done, to move you up accordingly because it's good. Anyways, he was a little blown away and he ended up leaving. And I just said to him that, hey, I said, you know the number. You call me anytime you want. But before you make that final decision, make sure you know where you're going, that it's the deal's in writing. You know what you're getting. Because here, Dave, I said, you're king. And he left. And 3 months later, the phone rang and he's like, I want to come home. And I said, come on home. And we still have your room for you at the front.
That's great.
Right?
That's
good people are good people.
Well, and I think Harry Quadracci said it many, many years ago about we all invest a terrific amount of time recruiting someone to your organization, right? You vet them, you interview them, and see if the fit's right. And that's important. But I think it's equally important if someone should choose to leave, because it's going to happen in life, to invest that same amount of time and care, because you had a partnership for a while that worked for both of you. But handled the right way, there is always a chance that there's a reunion of sorts. So it's important to handle things.
What do they say? Easier to bring on an old customer before a new one.
Right.
Easier to get reacquainted with an old employee if there was no crimes committed than a new one.
Yeah.
And we're all people.
Yeah.
Right. So we'll just jump topic. So pricing and supply. How the supply I know is getting better even in the used car market, but how's the pricing been? Has it been any consistent, little drop, up, down?
Well, I'll speak to paper first. One of the benefits we've seen in the last 3-4 months is price stability. So
Good word.
you were seeing escalations every 30 to 60 days with paper, but now it's stabilized. And if you know the paper industry, the economics of that model are not great. Um, it requires a certain price point per ton for those guys to keep those machines going, even as they jump around from graphic arts papers to brown, which is packaging. But there is a certain economic threshold that they have to be at. Are they there now? I think they're close to where they need to be. Will we see any decreases as demand waffles a little bit? That remains to be seen. But the benefit right now is it's stable. We haven't seen any escalations. In terms of supplies, consumables in our plant, whether it be ink or packaging related issues, plates, etc. Again, stability. Being part of the Graphic Arts Alliance, which I think is where you're going with this series of questions, is a good thing because it aggregates a lot of consumers of these products and allows us to, I guess, in a positive way, lever some of that purchasing power. And we've seen benefits of that. So we're always open-minded to lower prices from our suppliers, but we want people to be healthy, just like I hope that our customers want us to be healthy as their print supplier.
You know what? Right before COVID, if you looked at the price of paper, we were paying less for paper than we were paying 10 years ago.
Crazy.
It doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Well, economically, it was impossible. That's why you
right. But I'm saying we know as just everyday humans that it doesn't make sense because we run businesses.
Right.
As far as pricing goes, I never cared what the price was as long as everybody paid the same price.
Mm-hmm.
Because my markup on $1 a pound was better than my markup on 50 cents a pound.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But even now, I mean, I speak to a few people and they're like, well, what about the price? And I'm like, well, it is what it is. I said, I don't hear you complaining about the gas on the corner when the 4 stations are the same price.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right. People come at us, but so GAA. So GAA is a buying group, which I'm aware of. How does it work for you? Like, what are the real benefits of it?
Well, I think they aggregate different members and their buying patterns and go to the suppliers to see if, this group, and it may mean that some of the members of the group will change actual products or vendors, assuming it fits with what their needs are. But through aggregating that purchasing power, I think GAA has afforded their members a little bit better price point because of the volume. So, and there's so many different things that go into that because there's a lot of moving pieces to a business like ours. We have seen some benefit from being a member.
Yeah, no. What I used to be a member of another buying group for 18 years, and I never changed suppliers to be part of the group if my supplier was great, right? Like plates, I never changed because I wasn't going to go back and do 4 certifications over. But consumables, paper, transportation, our industry is generally known for having not a high rate of return at the end of the year, generally small markups. So if you could figure out how to save 1 or 2 points anywhere along the way, I think that's a bonus.
It is, but I do appreciate what you said in terms of loyalty. We're a good, I guess, partner with our vendors or business partners in terms of how we pay. We try to be very honorable with the timeliness of decisions and payment. And I think we've benefited from that, Warren. I think our business partners, suppliers understand that about our company. And as a result, they support us when we're growing or when there would be an opportunity from a supply chain issue. I think that same philosophy kind of fits with what GAA wants to do and the benefits they deliver.
I think business in general, it's all about, just respect and, just being human, humility,
yeah,
and not pushing it because we're all in the same boat.
Mm-hmm.
And we should be all be rowing down the river together in the same direction, right?
Yeah, to some extent, I agree with that. Yeah,
but it's good. So, and the other thing is when I was part of the buying group, the other benefit that I found was when I needed things, I would look up and call some of the other members, and just being part of the same group gave you a little bit of a family feeling.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to use the word brotherhood, but I figured today I won't. I'll
Right.
just use family.
Exactly.
got to appease everybody. But it opens the door, and that family feeling. A lot of people I know in print, everyone is like this. So when you get with a family member, everyone's a little bit more open to discussing thoughts, ideas, if they don't feel threatened. And
Yeah,
I
or
think
best practices. There's a little bit of that goes on, and we have some brethren, if you will, in our space, the catalog magazine market, that we're very friendly with, in terms of if we have a breakdown or a part. I don't think it serves either of us to be resistant to help one another, because let's face it, there's a lot of print still out there, which is kind of what's fueling our growth. So we want to be a good actor in that space as well.
and there are no secrets in our business.
Basically, no.
Right. I remember I used to have competitors that were like, they tell the client, well, we have a special coating that we made with a gloss. And I'd say to the customer, they just took the coating and changed the name, which is okay. I said, but for 11 million in revenue, Sun Chemical is not formulating new coatings for them.
Evans, no.
Yeah. Anyways, lots of fun, lots of good stuff. But I think any group participation is a good thing for everybody, because we all learn. And,
Right.
I was always reminded every day I had something to learn. So we keep doing it. Anyways, before we wrap it up, any final words or anything you'd like to put out there?
No, I appreciate what you do in terms of proselytizing the word of print. Again, it's a great industry. We're proud to be printers, and this whole initiative we have underway to bring more people in from an associate employee standpoint, we're really, really bullish on. So I appreciate the time today, and thank you.
Oh, great. Thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate anybody who appreciates me.
Yeah, right.
So anyway, thank you. Thank you for taking the time to come on. Pretty cool company you have. Size was a little bigger than I thought. Your space, 400,000 square feet, I can't even fathom, because I had 80 and that was pretty big. But wow, kudos to you and the whole team at Royle. To everybody else, I appreciate you joining. I hope you made it to the end. If there's anything you want to hear me talk about, or you want to be on, or anything like that, just reach out. I'm pretty simple. It's not too hard to find me. Otherwise, I bid everyone a good day, and warn Werbitt for what they think. I love print.